Hey everyone, Chris here with Santa's Laser Engraving and more. I've been busy the last 2 weeks. Electricians came and installed the breaker, the underground line, the outdoor disconnect, and the panels into the new building. So we have electricity into the building now, and I've actually got the wires hooked up inside the panel itself. So we're just now waiting for the building inspector to come this week and inspect it. And so once he gets that done, more than likely we can get started on getting some insulation in there, which would be great because I'd like to start at least moving a few things inside the building itself. I've also been busy on the laser inside the garage here. Like most people, when you first get your laser machine, you buy all kinds of items to try out. So I had a lot of glass that I needed to do something with. So I decided to start working through all that when I ran into some issues. You may have saw my little short the other day where I was losing my mind. I was hooked. I'd hooked the rotary up and like I'd done several times before, turned the power on to the machine. The laser took off and hit the side of the machine. So I worked to get the laser back level, a laser head back level, and then ran the frame, showed my design in the right area. But once it finished framing, the laser head tried to go back to the side of the machine again. So I realized that something wasn't right, and I found out that my origin point had somehow or another got changed. So I'm not sure how that happened, but I was able to fix that, and I thought I'd be able to finally run a test on the glass I had loaded in the machine. The laser head was finally moving in the right direction, and it seemed like everything was going to be all right. Started to engrave. When the piece completed, I realized I had a lot of dead spaces in between the engraving. So I had to do some more troubleshooting. I then realized that the mirrors were not aligned because when the laser head hit the side of the machine, it actually messed that mirror over top of the laser head. So once all those issues were resolved, I was able to do some batch engraving and doing some design. One thing you need to be able to do concerning your laser is have the ability to troubleshoot and to use some type of systematic process to understand where the issue lies. I was trying to work to get some of the items ready for my show later this year, and my frustration level was going up and up as I ran into each issue, but I was able to get through those issues and diagnose what the issue was and how to best resolve it. If you remember last week, we talked a little bit about some of the things that I believe you should consider when you actually purchase your laser. Today, I want to talk a little bit about once the laser has arrived on your doorstep. Now, I'll preface this by saying that I have to base this off the CO2 that I have, since I don't have any other type of diode or fiber or anything like that. But I think what you'll find when I'm talking about in your own experience with your laser and in numerous videos out there, that most of what I'm going to say is going to be somewhat applying to just about any laser. So the very first thing is when that box arrives, you do have to have somewhere to store it and a way to get it into the location that you want to open it up with. Most of the boxes that are shipped in are wooden crates. The crate that mine came in took up quite a bit of space in my garage when it first arrived. The cabinet of the laser itself for the Mon port that I own is the exterior is 47.2 inches by 38.2 inches, and it's about 36 inches high. But the shipping package was 52.8 inches by 44 inches by 44 inches high. Of course, if you're buying a desktop model or a fiber, the size will be a lot smaller than the cabinet type, but you must be prepared to have a location to put that box when it arrives. Also, you need to have some place to unbox everything and take it apart. So now it's in your home and you're ready to tear into that box. So do you have a location to put the machine? This is a consideration that has to be taken into account because you have to have exhaust for the smoke from the machine itself to go somewhere outside, unless, of course, you've purchased a fume extractor when you purchased your machine. You'll need a way to chill the machine so that there must be room in the area to accommodate for this as well. We'll talk about some upgrades in a little bit, but go ahead and consider that if you do any additional upgrades, you're also going to need some additional room for that, along with some additional outlets for the location to connect them. The next consideration is where you're going to put the computer to sit and run this laser, along with where you're going to sit. So it's another consideration that you must have when that thing first gets there. Finally, in the case of a CO2 laser, I have to consider how humidity is controlled. Is it a climate controlled environment, or is it like mine is right now? Do I need to monitor that and not run it during peak times of humidity? This is from the Monport's manual, and as you can see, the humidity needs to be under 70% for my CO2. Now, this is my setup in my garage right now. I have my tool desk being used as the location for the computer, and I have an air compressor between that and the machine, along with the air compressor dryer, which is located above that. On the left-hand side of the machine is where my CW5200 chiller is, with the AC Infinity inline fan that's mounted above the chiller. The combination of the desk, along with everything that's attached to the machine, takes up around 10 feet of space. Now, when you first get your machine, you're not necessarily going to need this much space because a lot of that stuff is in the machine itself. But if you just start getting upgrades, then you're going to have to consider that. The final piece of my layout is the fact that I have no windows and vent my machine outside. So I have a 6-inch by 20-foot duct that I have to take and place outside my garage door when I run anything. That rain or shine, I have to have that door up if I want to run anything. Now, when your machine first arrives and you get everything connected and you begin to run your test, is when you can start deciding if your machine's manufactured parts and pieces that are providing adequate ventilation or whatever the purpose is. And if you need to do upgrades like I've done on mine. Usually you'll find that the exhaust fan is not adequately removing the smoke or fumes from the unit. This is the fan that was installed on my Monport when I first received it. And according to their website, the fan will produce an airflow of about 238 CFM. It will remove the smoke, but the amount of time it takes to allow the smoke and soot will deposit onto your piece. And it also can obstruct your view of the piece you're running, so you may not see some issue that you're having until the piece is completely done. I did upgrade this with the 6-inch AC Infinity inline fan, as this fan has a maximum outflow of 402 CFM, which is just shy of double the amount of the air moving from the one manufacturer installed. Also, the controller I purchased with mine you see here will allow me to run future fans and keep me up to date on what the humidity currently is within the area. Now, next, when you start using your laser, you may discover that the air assist is also inadequate to remove the debris, keep the laser head clean, and even contributes to charring and flaming up on your piece. This is the pump that was on my machine when I received it, and as you can see, it produces a pressure of greater than or equal to 3 millipascals, which is about 4.35 psi. This would possibly work if the fan was able to ramp up and down, but these fans are usually just on or off. So I upgraded to this California Air Tools 1 horsepower Ultra 8-gallon air compressor. This compressor is quiet enough that I can run it in the garage, and it's barely heard in the living room, which is one of the other side of the garage wall. But when you upgrade to a compressor, you then have to consider condensation buildup as the air is being compressed. So you'll need a pressure regulator along with a filter as a minimum, and then possibly a dryer to add to it if you start getting moisture showing up on your work. You can see that I have the pressure set at 20 psi, and I have no issues with dirty lens, flame up, or charring. I do have to admit, though, that I'm considering purchasing another compressor from California Air with a bigger tank, because the on-off cycle, the one I have right now, is get the compressor running quite a bit, and I'd like to see the compressor run a little less. When I also went ahead and ordered the chiller to go with my machine when I first ordered it. The machine that came with this is an aquarium type, put along with a plastic bucket to use as a chilling device. While it might be adequate for some locations, here in eastern North Carolina, we have a lot of humidity, and it'd be more difficult for me to try to manually regulate the temperature in that setup than came with the machine. With the Monport CW5200, I can monitor the temperatures that the chiller is keeping the laser tube at, and it's a constant temperature, so I don't have to worry too much of how to keep the liquid cool. I'll tell you that I've decided to use the laser coolant that Monport sells instead of using distilled water in my chiller. The reason being that the humidity swings we have here, I wanted something that can maintain a relatively consistent temperature, especially at startup with the fluid that has been sitting inside the laser head or the laser tube itself that's sitting in the garage that can get hot. I don't know if this is the best option, but I think once I get the machine into the new building with some heat and air that I'm going to put in it, I can make a decision of whether I need to switch or just keep using it as it is right now. One thing I would like to suggest as well is to get yourself one of these conversion charts to have somewhere near your laser. These are almost always seen in machine shops, and they're a quick way to find your conversions from one measuring system to another. It's much easier than doing the math, and you can keep your workflow up so you're all set up now and you're ready to start in your laser engraving adventure. Just know up front you have plenty to learn. There's so much information that you can get, and sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. It just will not work. Example was the roller. Take time to work through the problem and understand that sometimes you just need to walk away and do something else. Thomas Edison would tackle a problem by employing a systematic hands-on approach, characterized by persistent experimentation and a willingness to learn from his failures. And this is how you should see yourself progressing as you dive deeper into this fun hobby or business. If you like this video, please do me a favor and hit that like or subscribe button. I would very much appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on the next video.